All right, you want to lose 30 pounds in 90 days? Yeah, I bet. Who doesn't? You want to do it, and you want it to be extremely easy. Of course. I can do this. I can make this happen. I can even show you, but the reality is, you know you, and I have a feeling I know you too. But anyway, welcome to Walk Talk Vent. Let's do this.
Hi guys, welcome back. Today's YouTuber is named Jesse and the name of his channel is Walk Talk Vent. And I gotta be honest with you, he's the first YouTuber where I actually followed his diet and exercise routine. And in 90 days, I was able to go from 184 pounds down to 166 pounds. In the last 90 days since the challenge ended, I was able to successfully go through a second challenge with him in which I basically stayed the same weight, but I've been getting a lot stronger because I've been doing push-ups and additional extra credit, which he'll talk about a little bit on this video. This group that Jesse leads, called the Venters, are all about walking every day, drinking water, and avoiding sugar. Kaizen is about baby steps, and Jesse's all about people easing into this program. So in the first month, he's going to talk a little bit about when to do your workouts, when to eat, when to start cutting down on your sugar. In the second month, he proceeds to tell you a little bit about extra credit and doing a little bit more than we did previously. And then in the third month, he'll talk about things like the 7:30 Club, where we'll stop eating that midnight snack and we'll start eating oatmeal for breakfast. It's really cool. It's a really good plan, and I think you'll really enjoy. We need to lose 30 pounds in the next 90 days, and we need to do it in a way that's doable and preferably easy. So here's our game plan. Most people start the day on the wrong foot. They start off by eating a breakfast that usually includes a big bowl of cereal, bacon and eggs, perhaps pancakes and waffles, or at least one of the above, right? Maybe even a breakfast burrito. But here's the problem with those breakfasts. They usually start us off with a lot of calories in the morning, and they're not necessarily the calories that give you a lot of energy. This was a picture and look at my typical breakfast, and I'd be willing to bet that it looks similar to yours. A typical day usually starts like this for people. They wake up, have one of those typical breakfasts that we just went over, then they hop in their car. They go to work for 8 hours. During work, they usually have a lunch period between a half hour to an hour. Usually they eat poorly because usually they don't take their food. Normally you go to a place like McDonald's and you might have a lunch that looks like this. And perhaps more importantly, the problem with a lunch like this is normally we end up eating this lunch 5 days a week, roughly 20 days a month. And look at all the calories we're taking in just from this one unhealthy meal. So the real question becomes, is there anything that we can do with that lunch? Well, let's break down that lunch. Here's a typical lunch that we might get at a fast food restaurant. It usually includes a good-sized burger, a large fry, and a large drink. If we were to cut that down to a burger with a small fry and small drink, look how many calories we're able to take out of the equation. On another hand, if we're willing to take away that drink and take away the fry, what's left over is a sandwich that costs about half the price of the meal, and it's about half the calories. So if you really want to slash your lunch day calories in half and save some money in the process, I think you know what to do. So we wake up, we go to work, we come home, we're usually exhausted. And what's the first thing we do? We sit down to have dinner with the family. And let's be honest, nowadays, we usually don't have dinner with the family. We usually just have dinner. Here's the problem with dinner: nothing at all. Most of the time, we don't just stop at one meal, however. How many of us, especially if we're overweight, are guilty of eating seconds? So when you actually eat seconds, you're no longer having 3 square meals a day. I hate to inform you of this, but you're actually eating 4 square meals a day. And that's one too many, right? So what we need to do is we need to make a commitment that what we're going to do is we're going to have one meal for dinner. And then after that one meal, instead of a second meal, let's just have a snack, okay? The snack can be healthy. The snack can be your donut or whatever you have. But let's make sure that the first thing we do right from day one is let's have a commitment to cut out that second portion of dinner, okay? Okay, there's a plan. Okay, now let's take a look at our dinner itself. We usually have portions, right? We have a meat or protein portion. If we're lucky, we have some vegetables, and we might even have some starches like a little bread, right? Or a roll to go with it. And here's another thing. We typically drink a Coca-Cola or a soda of some sort with our dinner. What we need to do is we need to start contemplating the idea of actually swapping out occasionally some of these Coca-Colas for water. Check this out. A 12-ounce can of Coke is going to run you 150 calories, but a 12-ounce glass of ice water is 0 calories. So imagine a dinner where we still enjoy the dinner itself, but we just eliminate the soft drink for a water. Now, let's take a look at dessert. If you routinely have dessert after your meal every single day, then let's start with a baby step. As a baby step, what we want to do is we want to start curving these desserts. So if you normally have 1 and sometimes 2 donuts, what we want to get you to the point is where you just have the 1 donut. So how many people are guilty of this? You finish your meal, you're watching TV, you decide that you're going to enjoy 1 donut. So you do. And then about an hour or 2 into watching TV before you go to bed, you make your way back to the kitchen, back to that Entenmann's box, and before you know it, you're eating that second donut. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to make a commitment that we're only going to have 1 donut for the rest of this first week, or 2 weeks, or 3, depending on how strong your addiction to the donut is. But we're only going to have 1, and we're never going to have 2. Because if we have 2 donuts, in essence, what we're having is not just 1 serving of dessert, we're having 2 desserts. And unless there's 2 or 3 people in the house, you should only be eating 1 dessert, okay? So what we're going to do immediately is we're going to cut out that soft drink and we're going to drink water. But how do we get there? So many of us feel like with work, with family, with chores around the house, a lot of times we just don't have time to work out. Guys, what these are excuses. You're always going to use time with your family, even though you don't hang out with your family, as an excuse. You're always going to use your job and how tough and draining it is as an excuse. So what we need to do is we need to quit using our family and our jobs as excuses, which they are. They're good natural excuses. You're exhausted. So what we need to do is we need to use our job as our catalyst to our workout. How does our job help us with our workout? Very easily. Every day you wake up at 6, you hop in the shower, you eat some breakfast, you get out the door by 7:30, so you're to your job by 8. Every day like clockwork you do this, and I'm proud of you. You even keep relatively good attendance at work. So here's how we're going to use your job to springboard your walking routine. Every single day when you wake up, you're going to do the same routine, but here's the difference. You're going to actually take a half-hour walk to your car. That's right, we're going to technically walk to work by using our car. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually take a 20-minute walk or a half-hour walk around the block, ending at our car. And then we're simply going to get in our car and go to work. So again, if you've been getting in your car at 7:30 every day to head off to work, we're going to do nothing different other than you're going to exit your house at 7. You're going to walk around the block till it's 7:30, and then you're going to get in your car. What does this do? This creates 5 days a week where you're naturally getting your exercise done first thing in the morning. Here's your homework assignment. Right now, you're drinking a lot of junk. What I want you to do is give yourself this goal: in the morning for breakfast, midday for lunch, and in the evening for dinner, you're gonna have 1 glass of water. If you wanna finish that water before you have your dinner and then drink a Coke like you normally do, that's fine. Our main goal is to get you to the point where you're starting to intake water daily, straight water. Look what happens when we simply go from Coca-Cola to sweet tea and then to water. How can we do this in a step-down fashion that makes it doable and not so miserable? Well, what we could do is we could instantly go from Coca-Cola to sweet tea because it's still refreshing, it's still sweet, and it still has caffeine. Then what we could do is we could take that same sweet tea, and over the course of a 1, 2, or 3 week period, we could slowly but surely cut that with a little bit of water, right? So a sweet tea becomes slightly less sweet. And then ultimately by month 2 and month 3, we're gonna get to the point where instead of having that sweet tea, you have completely unsweetened tea, or ideally, just water. Now imagine this. You're drinking on average 3 or 4 Coca-Colas a day, each at 150 calories, and that's if you're having a small little can. If you're having giant bottles of Coke, then it's even more. But if we take the 4 cans of Coke times 150 calories, guys, you're absorbing 600 calories a day just through liquids. So if we can get rid of those calories and replace it with water, 600 calories times 7 days a week, that's 4,200 calories right there that we're getting out of our system. That, my friends, is gonna help us lose weight. Let's fast forward. Today is no longer day 1. Let's fast forward and look at it as day 60 of a 90-day challenge. What we're gonna do on day 60 is we're gonna implement Kaizen. Hey, welcome back. So listen, Kaizen is basically a Japanese way of living or way of thinking where you basically try to be a little bit better today than you were yesterday, and you try to be a little bit better tomorrow than you are today through the use of baby steps. You know, if you just make 1% improvements all the time, as time goes by, it's gonna be some explosive improvement that you expect. Oh, let's do better than that. All right, so there's that word, Kaizen. It's a Japanese word, and it's basically just the thought of you're going to be better today than you were yesterday, and you're going to be better tomorrow than you are today through the use of baby steps. So one of the things he's talking about here, it's me, one of the things I'm talking about here is that when you're in month 2, you're going to start stepping it up. So instead of a half-hour walk, maybe you go a little bit more towards 45 minutes, or instead of 1 half-hour walk, maybe you add a 15 or 20-minute walk during lunch. And then on the flip side, we can also take things away in a baby step way. For example, if you have 4 Cokes, maybe coming into month 2, we can get it to the point where you have just 2 Cokes. And then going into month 3, maybe we can get it to the point where you have 0 or maybe 1 Coke. And then going into the final month, we're going to do the 7:30 rule, which basically is where we're all going to quit having that midnight or after dinner snack. It makes losing weight the final month really happen quickly. And for a lot of us, it was really the difference maker. And you'll probably feel the same way. What this means is that at 6 or 7 o'clock after you finish your dinner, you're no longer going to be eating after 7:30. This is going to create a situation where when you wake up in the morning, you look forward to eating some oatmeal. Here's the great thing about eating oatmeal for breakfast. If you don't throw a bunch of sugar and a bunch of cinnamon and a bunch of fruit in it, it's pretty darn bland and boring. That might not sound like a very appealing breakfast, but it is what you want. Let me tell you why. Number 1, eating oatmeal has a tendency to keep you very regular. If you're drinking a lot of water and walking every day, you're going to be a lot more regular than you ever have been in your whole life. Number 2, to my knowledge, no human being has ever woken up and said, hey, I can't wait to have a giant bowl of plain, boring oatmeal. It just doesn't happen. So what's going to happen is in the morning, you're going to wake up, you're going to eat your packet of oatmeal, which, by the way, get this, it's only 100 calories. So if Captain Crunch is 500 calories and we're changing that out for oatmeal this final month, guess what? You just cut off another 300 calories or so from your daily breakfast. Oatmeal is one of these things that's going to enable us to quit looking at food as some sort of dessert or treat, and it's going to help us to look at it more as a fuel supply to get us through the rest of the day. Kaizen is baby steps. So what we can do is we can start with a 10 or 15 minute walk the first week, but by week 12, when we're finishing up this challenge, I expect you to be walking a half hour in the morning, 15 to 30 minutes midday after lunch, and potentially even another half-hour walk in the evening when the sun goes down. That's a lot of walking. Well, guess what? If you can even do it a couple times a week, you're really getting ahead of the game. Remember, it's extra credit. So even if you can only do your 30-minute walk in the morning, that's all you need. I just want you to consider extra credit because it's a way that we can burn even more calories and hit our goal even quicker. Most people jump off a cliff when it comes to joining a diet and exercise routine. Many of us start New Year's resolutions, and usually a couple weeks to a couple months into the new year, we've already forgotten and quit our New Year's resolution. Well, that's why I offer the idea that why don't we start our New Year's resolution now? Imagine doing a 180-day challenge with me that culminates with us actually hitting our stride right there around New Year's. Now, many of us naturally think that a walk is a little weak and it doesn't really help much. And I'll be honest, it doesn't. If you walk with me 1 or 2 days a week, it's just not going to do very much for you. The key is you have to be willing to walk every day a week. You can walk before work, but we need to get you to the point where you can walk every single day. So I want you to quit looking at Saturday and Sunday as your day off to relax and eat and chill and watch football games. And what I want you to do is stay with your same schedule. Wake up at 7, get outside, take your half-hour walk, and then enjoy your weekend like you normally would. So what happens when most people start a New Year's resolution? I think for me it went like this, and it probably went like this for you as well. You go to the gym, you work out like crazy, you end up going home, you feel sore, but you tell yourself, hey, this is a good soreness. These are my muscles growing. And they really are. But what happens is most of us get into a routine where we start working out 3, maybe 4 days a week. What that means is that ultimately we have 2, maybe 3 or 4 days a week where we're not working out. Every one of those days that we're not working out simply becomes a day where we're being lazy, where we're eating, where we're not burning any calories. By walking every single day and easing your way into a workout routine and looking at the workout routine as extra credit above and beyond your walk, and all of a sudden you're going to be creating muscle, burning more calories than ever, and you're really going to start losing a lot of weight in that 3rd month. So here's a little disclaimer. This is the easiest way to lose 20 to 30 pounds in 90 days, but you need to know something. For the first month, sometimes for the first 2 months, it's not uncommon for you to lose 0 weight. And it's actually common that you might actually gain a pound or 2. That's where we have to take other victories into account. Other victories include losing inches around your waist. If your shoes, your shorts, your t-shirts start feeling looser, guess what? You're starting to transform your body. Even though your weight has remained the same, you probably have far less fat and you probably have quite a bit more muscle that you're working with. Our muscles come with muscle memory. So even if back in your high school or college days, you were extremely athletic, I don't see any reason in the world why we can't get you back to that point. Will you be the same athlete that you were in your 20s? Not necessarily, but let's be honest. Our goal isn't to become a professional athlete. Our goal is to become the best version of ourselves that we can be. And let's be honest, we want to be athletic and mobile rather than sedentary and lazy. So let's do this. I can do this. You can do this. We can do this. Let's do this. By walking with the Venters every single day, you keep yourself accountable. Every day we wish each other a good walk. Every day I walk with you. And every day I put up a video of somebody on YouTube that's going through the same diet process that you are. Some of them are very successful. Some of them not so much. What I've noticed is that the ones that are successful are usually the ones that are avoiding sugar, they're drinking a lot of water, and they're walking every day. So instead of doing their miserable diets where you can only eat meat, or you can only eat vegetables, or you can only eat during these certain periods of time, do our diet and exercise routine. It actually makes you happy, and it's actually addictive. I don't go any days without walking. I've been walking for the last 2.5 decades daily, minus when I'm down with a surgical procedure or down with an ailment. But predominantly speaking, your boy is out here walking every day, and I absolutely love it. So my goal is to get you guys to walk with me and to become a venter. And what you're going to quickly notice is that when you're on your walk, not only does it help the physical side of you, but it helps give you mental clarity. And it really helps get you in a good state of mind, and your moods are going to improve. Problems that used to bum you out, when you're walking, you're going to find new novel ways to attack those problems. I'm telling you, walking has changed my life. And if you take on this 90-day challenge with me, I believe firmly it'll change your life as well. So again, to recap, we're going to hit this diet problem of yours head on from multiple angles. We're going to take away some of the bad stuff like the desserts and the sodas. We're going to increase the good stuff like walking and drinking water, right? And avoiding sugar. And then ultimately, we're going to get to the point where we're going to lose a lot of weight because we're going to become walking machines. You're going to become a walking legend. And we're going to look back at your first days when you decided to take this challenge. And you're going to think of them as some of the best decisions you ever made when you decided to join Walk, Talk, Vent and the Venters. So congratulations, if you've made it this far. It sounds to me like you're seriously considering joining us. Join us. The next 90 days are going to go like that. And so I wish you a wonderful day. Go get your shoes on, rewind this video, and let's go for a walk. We just did a half hour just like that.